From Arizona to Washington, all the way to Georgia, welcome to the Coast to Coast Catch Up. We're just two childhood friends who grew up together, chased sports dreams, and now live on opposite sides of the country. This podcast is our way of catching up, unpacking real life, and sharing the ride with you. From deep conversations to lessons we're still learning, laughs to life pivots, it's the kind of catch up everyone needs. Let's get into it. Abe, how was your week? What did we do this week?
Yeah, Cannon. This week, I know we talked about it last week in the pod, but Mina had a successful surgery on Monday. So we have been recovering. When I say we, mostly her. It's been going well. She had a cyst cut out of her. She also took her appendix out because apparently it's not useful anymore. And yeah, so that happened Monday. I worked Monday. Her parents were in the hospital with her all day. I know that sounds like a bad boyfriend move, but I took off Tuesday and hung out with her from Monday night to all day Tuesday. We left the hospital middle of the day on Tuesday. It's just kind of her parents and I all day on that day. And then her parents took off basically the rest of the week, and they're like, "Hey, you got it. You're good to go. We're gonna go up to North Carolina," and I've been watching her ever since. So, yeah, and that's basically been it. It's been I wake up, I make sure she's still doing well, and then I go to work, and then I come back and make sure that she's still doing well. And then I live. Thankfully, both my jobs are 10 minutes away, so I'll stop by and lunch and make sure she's doing it right. So that's been it. That's been it's really been caregiver Abe. It's been nurse Abe, and it's been fun. Obviously, it's terrible circumstances, but it's definitely I don't know. I think she even told me the other day, she's like, "Do you enjoy this?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course. Like, I always want to take care of you." So I think she's starting to see a little bit more of a sweeter side than Abe. I know I can be a little sarcastic and always trying to be goofy, but I think she's really enjoyed seeing me being the kind of a caregiver, which I don't always want to do. I'm not a full-time caregiver. That's why I'm not a full-time nurse, but it is fun to do from time to time. So just taking a little bit of positive of the big negative we got going on right now. So that's been my week. It's been fun. What about you, Ken?
Good. Well, first thing, that's great. She had a
Yeah.
successful surgery. Things are going well. Were you very scared going into that, or were you pretty confident that everything would go well? And how are you feeling?
Yeah, it was a pretty simple procedure, and they caught it. I think I told this last week. Like, they caught it pretty early, not early, but like they caught it and like, hey, like we need to do this, instead of like hey, we need to do this right now. And so like the weekend was pretty, like the previous weekend was pretty just kind of eerie of like, all right, like we don't really know what's going, like we don't really know what to expect. And I wasn't there on the morning of the surgery when they did it. So I was at work just being like, just kind of waiting for a call, waiting for something. I knew the time that she was going under and all that kind of stuff. And she was under for 2 hours longer than expected. So she was only going to be under for like an hour. She ended up being down for like 3. So like at that point, I started getting a little antsy of like, hey, what's going on here? And then her parents kind of filled me in, and nonetheless, it was just they found more than they expected, and it was just a simple, just getting it all out. And then once I saw her, and once I talked to her on the phone, I was like, all right, she's good. And Mina's been in the hospital like quite a lot as a kid, not as a kid, but like kind of as a pre-adult. So seeing her at the hospital was I want to see she's pretty comfortable. She's been there a lot, so especially with her heart surgery. So that was also kind of a relief on my side, where she kind of knows the element a little bit more than someone that doesn't. So I think that also took some stress off me as well. But slept in the hospital on Monday, which I've actually never done before, so that was kind of interesting. But it was a nice room, nice couch, and I was just like, all right, cool. So it was, yeah, it was kind of fun. Again, you just kind of make the best out of each situation. So
good. Yeah, that's fantastic. I'm really happy that went smoothly.
Yeah, super glad. The doctors were great. I actually met the doctor. Apparently he's like well regarded around like the country, which I still don't know this guy, but just very interesting guy. He was just he like walked in, like touched her and was like, "Oh, I need to put gloves on." And I was like, he was just like quite the character. And I was like, this is the guy that like did the surgery. It's like, I don't feel like he's all right. I don't think he's all up here. You know what I mean? So, but he was a nice guy and you know, kind of just kept us all level headed. So, yeah, man, doctors and surgeons, unbelievable. I couldn't imagine doing what they did. I don't think I can do that.
And they got to do that every day. You know, that's somebody's worst day is their every day. So, definitely went through that with someone in my family, and yes, felt that, like, very thankful that they're just ready at any given time to do, you know, things that things that seem unfathomable for me, you know. So
and then just to go home after and just be like, right. How good I am. So like, you know, I performed like 3 surgeries today. It's like, dude, what are you talking about?
How was work? It was good. Yeah. All right. Well, what else did you do this week?
Dude, that's about it.
That's about it.
That's about it. Mina and I, big TV people. I got her watching Attack on Titan. So for those who know me, I watch a decent amount of anime. My cousins, who I saw in July, they're also big into anime, and we were all talking about just anime and kind of geeking out. And they were like, there was one of the show I watched like a while ago called Attack on Titan. Super good plot, all that kind of stuff. Great storylines. And Mina and I are watching it now. And it's been fun. So we've had a lot of free time on our hands. She can't really do much. So we've been watching that. Like, how I come home and she's the first thing I say, like the first thing she says when I come home is, "All right, you ready to watch this?" So it's just been work, making sure that she has food and the drugs that she needs, and then make sure she's comfortable. Then we basically watch Attack on Titan the entire rest of the night. So, and of course I'm on dog duty for the next couple of weeks. So yeah, that's about it. That's all I got.
Nice, man.
So what about you, Kenan?
Well, this week, kind of similar start off gym things. I finally got 315 back on the plate, or back on the bar. So happy about that. Continue to work on my dunk. It wasn't as smooth as last week, but still working on that. And then biked with Mac twice this week, so I'm up to 17 and almost 18 miles on the bike. So pretty far away from the 112 I need for the end of the year. But how's your Ironman going over there, Abe?
I have not ran any miles this week. I just, once I found out that Mina's parents were gone like the whole rest of the week, I was like, oh shit, I'm not gonna be able to. Like my first thought was, I don't think I'm gonna be able to get any miles in. So the week is not over yet, and so hopefully I can. I'm gonna shoot for just a big chunk off tomorrow. I'm gonna do
all right.
5 miles tomorrow, something crazy.
You better do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But other things I did this week, went to some reffing meetings, been doing that, getting ready to do some middle school, high school football, tackle football reffing. So pretty excited about that. Should be something new. I haven't done a bunch of tackle. I've really just done flag. So that'll be new. That'll be something fun. Keep me entertained in that aspect. Also went to the Seahawks preseason game against the Raiders this Thursday. So that was fun. Showed up a little late and missed all the starters play. So that was really tough. That was probably my loss for the week. We showed up probably 5 minutes late, and I missed Cooper Kupp. I missed Ashton Genty in his first rookie NFL play. Missed Geno Smith, Sam Darnold, all the guys that I actually would like to see and get my fantasy prospects in. I missed, so was pretty upset about that. But it was fun. It was something to do, and I got those tickets through reffing, so that was pretty special. I took Alyssa and the roommates down there. And then this weekend we played some pickleball. We won 4 times this week. So yeah, we're moving up. It wasn't a fluke. So maybe we are getting better. So that's exciting. Getting ready to play some other people sometime maybe, but
I'm sure
getting a little more even.
Yeah, I'm sure the first win last week felt like just like unbelievable, but honestly, like to back it up, it probably feels just as good. Of like, like tides, tables are being turned, like actively.
I will say the first 2 games we played, we only scored 1 point, and then we won the next 2 games. So I don't know if they started going easy on us or what, but a win's a win, and you know what? I'll take it. Yeah, so that was good. I think Alyssa and I are getting better. Alyssa's definitely getting better. I hope I'm getting better as well. And then this weekend we went out to Bellingham, which is about an hour and a half. Mac and I went biking and dropped the ladies off in the town, and they kind of just went around to farmers markets and shopped around a bit while we went biking, and they had a fun little track up there. And so we did a few loops and yeah, like I said, we biked quite a bit. So did that, and then this Monday, Mac and I did our weekly Monday biking trip. So that was good. Stayed active with that and had a good time.
All right, Ken, wins and losses for the week. My win, obviously, Mina's surgery went super well. In the hospital couch, being extremely comfortable. Couldn't think of a better win. That's just always going to be at the top. And then my loss, I did live this out in the weekly catch up. Mina told me on Tuesday morning. So we're like about ready to leave the hospital. She's like, "Hey, can we get Charlie like bathed and cut before I come home? That way, that she's cut, she's clean. Like Mina can cuddle with her, and there's no like dirtiness on her, and Mina won't get infections or whatever and whatever." So I was like, "Hey, to ease in my head, I'm like as a good boyfriend, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna ease your mind. Like I could take care of this." Finding a groomer at the last minute might be the hardest thing ever. I called 5 separate groomers to get this dog in. The 5th one finally took her. And by the way, like I was like explaining the full situation. Like I like anything to get my foot in this door of like, hey, my girlfriend just uses the hospital. Like she really wants me to get this dog cleaned up like before she comes home. It could be any minute. Can you take a walk in? No. And I was like, oh my God. So finally this place, said yes. It was like, great. So I ran, took her over. And she's like, great, like, pick her up at 2:00. And I was like, great. So I show up at 2:00. And the main thing was just like, hey, like I just need bathed, clipped, like nails clipped for sure. And that's it. Super, super basic. Like try to be as low maintenance as possible. Thank you so much for getting me in. And so I go to pick her up at 2 p.m. and her nails weren't clipped. They were clipped, but they weren't grinded. So they were like super sharp. So when she saw me, she jumped on me, and I have 2 like scratches on my arms, like that cut pretty deep. It's like, and so I instantly was like, hey, like you guys have got, like, I'm usually never like this. I'm the type of guy that like, if my food's wrong, like I'm just going to eat it. But with like the whole Mina thing, I was like, I've got to have this dog perfect. So I was like, hey, can you please like take it back and grind her nails? And then she also turned, like my dog, Charlie, turned around the corner, and she was just like totally shaven. Like she was like, someone basically gave her a buzz cut. And I was like, oh crap. I was like, that's crazy. I wasn't expecting that. Which is fine because it's summertime in Atlanta. It's still hot, humid. Like we were wanting to cut her short anyway, but I just wasn't expecting that short, nor have I seen her that short. She's a very long coat normally, very wavy, very beautiful. And to see your dog like basically fully shaven, I was like, holy shit. Like, that's wild. And so anyway, so it was just this ordeal getting her into the Clippers. It was like $75, which is just way too much, but I couldn't argue it because Mina just had surgery and this is like her one request from me. And I was like, I can do this. I can take care of this. So just to have this whole conundrum, I was just like, all right, whatever. But that was my loss of the week. That left a bad taste in my mouth, and I'm never going back to that place ever again because I feel like they've ruined my dog. But it's okay. So that was my loss. Other than that, yeah. What about your week?
Your dog matches you. That's good.
Yeah, for sure.
My week, I kind of already explained mine. I should have saved those for the win-loss, but Bellingham was the win. Mac and I had a bunch of fun. Didn't crash at all up there, so I'm not pushing myself, but also I don't know if I need to be pushing myself riding bikes. I don't have to be a pro athlete anymore. I can take a step back and just have fun. So Bellingham was a bunch of fun, and then the loss was missing out on all the starters playing in that game. That was kind of upsetting, and really not all I wanted to see, but I really wanted to see Ashton Genty play. You're a Boise State fan, and I really liked watching him in college. So I was excited to see what he could do in the pros. And I didn't miss much. He had 3 rushes for -1 yards. So not the greatest showing, but, I could have said I saw his first snap in person. That would have been kind of cool. So, not a big win, not a big loss, but another week down, and another podcast we're doing. This week, we're going to be talking about the Midwest. Last week, we did Arizona. We both grew up in Arizona, and then both of us happened to move across the country. 1,200 miles, and we're within 50 miles of each other somehow. I went to school in Wisconsin, Wisconsin Stout on the west side of Wisconsin, and Abe went to school on the east side of Minnesota at a school called Winona State. So pretty funny that, we both started in the same place and then both moved over there where, those were both independent selections. We didn't converse about that. It was more like, oh, cool, Abe's going to play golf, Cannon's going to play football. And then, we're like, oh, where are you going? Where are you going? And then we realized we're an hour and a half drive from each other. So pretty cool. So let's get right into it, Abe. What's something that we miss or underappreciate about the Midwest now that we're no longer living there?
Yeah, no. Listen, I loved my time in college. I love the Midwest. There's some great people, but I would say definitely the things that I miss most specifically in this time is just is the beauty. Winona State was right on kind of like the Minnesota-Wisconsin bluffs. So on the southern part of the state, I was right along the Mississippi River. My apartment was less than a block away from the Mississippi River. I mean, I could hit a golf ball from my parking lot into the Mississippi River. Not that I ever did, but I could do that. They had a fantastic trail along it. I was even telling Mina just now, we had sunset walks where we would just at sunset, I'm playing, you look outside and the sun's getting low. It's like, hey, let's go walk outside along the river. And the rivers out there are much different. The only river I ever knew growing up was the Salt River. And the Mississippi River is quite a bit different than that. Salt River, you could drive your truck over it in some spots. And Mississippi River is, I get why there's a lot of cities along rivers, and I get why you can navigate them way back in the 1700s. So, but it is very beautiful. It had, I wouldn't say mountains, I wouldn't say hills, but they had these bluffs that would kind of entrapped my town of Winona. I had a lake on one side, the town, and then the river. So they call it the Island City. But man, it was just so beautiful, so different than Arizona. Everything was green, everything was lush, and then you had the seasons, which is again something that we never really had in Arizona. And yeah, I think that's something that I've always taken away. And even living in Atlanta, which is very much a forest, and they care about their canopy, I loved how great it was there. And I kind of love the attitude out there where when it was nice outside, you took advantage of it because you only knew you had so many nice days. Having the seasons time in the winter, and I know everyone here is Wisconsin and Minnesota. It's like, oh my God, the winters are the first thing out of the mouth is usually wet winter and it's so cold. But man, when it's nice outside, not even nice, but when it's halfway decent outside, people take advantage of that. So I would say those are things that I I miss, and just that attitude, taking advantage of days and the natural beauty, and just kind of looking outside and being like, oh, there's a sunset. Like, let's go check that out. And at least in Minnesota, people are very active. I really appreciate that. So, what about you, Ken? What do you miss, and what do you underappreciate about the Midwest?
Yeah, I think just the small town vibe. I moved from Mesa, Arizona, which is about 500,000 people, give or take, and then moved into a town of I want to say 30,000 with students, probably 20,000 without. So it was a small town. Everything was very walkable, and I'm sure part of that is a mix of it being a college town with it being a small town. But I really enjoyed, walking from your apartment to the campus or practice or to your buddy's house, and just having everyone pretty close. And it wasn't like you needed a car or even a bike to transport from place to place. So I really enjoyed that. And that, I think that's more of a college thing, but that's also just being in a small town like that. You kind of have things closer. Maybe not. I think that might have been just a college thing, because out there's a lot more country, and you do have to drive a little further if you're going to your buddy's house or whatnot. So I guess I missed the college aspect of things being walkable and just having friends nearby. That's yeah.
Short drives too. I feel like in those atmospheres, we had very similar atmospheres. It was really just a college town, same size, but like if you need to go to the store, it was just a very short drive. Which, I mean, to go to the store, it's always a short drive, but and then you'd have like a really long drive where like, oh, I need to get to the cities, and it's like, all right, well, that's another hour and a half. It's like, okay, so like you're separated from everything, but your commutes in and out of the town they get shorter, but they're almost the same distance, because you either have more stop signs or small town infrastructure. So but yeah, everything. I mean, dude, I walked to campus every day, rain or shine, -20, whatever. Which again, as an Arizona kid, was very unique. Even kids that were native to Minnesota, like, dude, I'm not walking to school, I'm getting in my car. And I was just like, I don't want to deal with parking. I'm just gonna walk. I'm just gonna walk, man.
Just soak it in.
Yeah. And so, but yeah, when you moved up there, what were some things that you noticed that were very different than Arizona?
Yeah, off the bat, the first thing I noticed was just the enunciation of words. The obvious one is the big. That's classic Midwest, and I didn't realize it was as obvious as it is. But they say some things pretty goofy. Oregon, they say Oregon, and they came up. I don't even know how they say bagel, but bagel kind of sounds like they're throwing up. The Boyer and Red Beer, they have a bunch of just odd vowel enunciations, which is funny. I live with Michaela still, and she still has a little bit of we all look at her funny when she says big still, and starting to feel kind of bad about it, because all three of us are just like, why do you keep talking like that? But obviously that's how she grew up and how everyone around her grew up. So it was funny with that. And then another thing I noticed right away was just how nice people were initially. I feel like in Arizona, you kind of have to break the shell. You walk up to someone on the street, they're not going to make eye contact. They're not going to smile or really talk to you unless, you say like, oh, how are you doing? Why are you doing here? And then, they open up and they're nice. They're just, people that you have to open up a little more before really getting into it with them. Where in the Midwest, it was like someone would come up to me, hey, how you doing? I'd be like, good. And they'd be like, oh yeah, how's the weather today? I'm like, good. Like, oh, okay. What are you doing here today? I'm like, walking. Oh, okay. I've lived down the street. You should come by sometime. It's just like a 2-second conversation in Arizona turned into a 20-minute conversation in Midwest. And, it was a good eye-opening experience for me just to see that, there is a different way to live life. And that was my first introduction to like, oh, what I knew living in Arizona is not how the whole world functions, right? And growing up and moving around, I think that's a cool thing about traveling, is just realizing that people function in different ways in different places. And, you get to, that's a fun thing about moving around, is you get to pick and choose what you like and what you don't like. And that was a pretty fun one. What did you notice moving around, Dave, up to Midwest?
Yeah, the people being nice is so crazy. I mean, I remember my first week in I think it was day 2 in the dorms. I was still like moving in, being an athlete. Like we moved in like a week before, so it was still pretty like desolate. And I remember like I think she's on the track team, but a girl came up to me and like asked me like a couple questions, and I was just like super shy. And I was like, yeah, I'm from. I just moved in like a couple weeks ago. Like my parents just dropped me off. I'm on the golf team. I got freshman, obviously, from Arizona. And I remember just being like, her face of like, dude, you're from Arizona? And then she asked me like 4 or 5 questions. And then, I was like, oh, like, I'm okay. Like, and anyway, long story short, like, by the end of that 20-minute conversation, she was inviting me to like her Thanksgiving. Like, I didn't even know this person. And she was like, hey, like, if you don't have any plans to go to Thanksgiving, like, please come to ours. Like, we always have an open table. And I was like, I would be like, this is crazy. Like, she's gonna like kill me or something. Like, there's something like your thoughts just go to like, obviously, like, what is happening? But it's so true. Like everyone just makes you feel at home so quickly out there. And if you're not at least ready for it, like, it's gonna hit you fast.
Yeah, definitely catches you off guard.
Yeah, and it makes you think too, like, God, is everyone in Arizona just assholes?
Right.
They're just mean people. And so yeah, that caught me off guard. And then once you get used to it, like, it's just cool to see kind of how it trickles down. They're like, obviously, like, grandparents are always like really generally nice people, but a lot of my teammates and friends in college, like, their parents would come to visit, because they were always, either an hour or 2 or a couple away. And so they'd just come visit for the weekend. And they would literally party with us. Like, I don't really know how else to say this, but, we'd have some friends, parents in towns, and they would be buying everyone drinks. And at the bar, we were all legal, nothing crazy. But, they'd go to the bar for like at a college bar with us until like 11, 12 o'clock. And I remember being like, this is so weird. Like, someone's dad's offering me to buy me a beer. Like, I can't say no. I want to say no, but like, I can't say no. And even if I do say no, they're going to be like, no, here's what I mean. And so that was just another, like, and of course I was, at that time I just turned 21, and I really haven't had many drinks with like my family or, my family's friends and stuff like that. So I don't know if it's just like the unique experience in that time of age, but yeah, like, I just remember seeing parents at bars being like, "This is awesome!" Like, they're like, "What?"
No,
like,
it's definitely a culture up there. Drinking is definitely a culture up there. Long winters, and I feel like everyone decides, they're bored. Let's have some fun at the bar, and that's definitely it trickles down from the grandparents and the parents, and then into the kids. So. A bit of everyone has that in them up there, which is also different than Arizona.
Yeah. And then it kind of relates, but one thing I noticed I'm a pretty skinny guy, so I don't know if I just see it more, but people up there are generally a little bit bigger, and in a couple of ways, so like either around the waist, but even that too. And I don't know if it's just because I was surrounded by your football team and the athletes at Winona State, but people are also like a lot like more stronger, bigger, like just like sculpted bigger, because they have more time. They spend more time in the wintertime in the gym. And so, like, I remember seeing some absolute units from people in college. And again, it can be from college, like, it's a lot different than high school, but I remember that was just, it was funny to see, like, oh, in the wintertime, everyone's like in the gym, like, and not me, like, oh, I might go play basketball, but I don't know. So that was cool to see. It was just very different of like, all right, like, this is how they handle winter. So
I believe they're called corn fed.
corn fed.
Yeah. Yeah, another thing I noticed up there, even with football and everything, is there's a lack of diversity up there. We kind of fit in going to school up there. It was not the type of diversity that we felt in Arizona growing up.
Oh,
Definitely, yeah, definitely less seasoning on the food and little more mayonnaise used. So that was also something I noticed right away. And then as I stayed up there a little longer, I realized that people that grew up there would complain about the weather and they'd say, "Oh, I want to get out, I want to leave," and then be like, "Okay, so what? Like, where are you gonna go when you leave college?" And they're like, "Oh, I say that, but I could never leave this place. My family's from here. My grandparents and my grandparents are from here, and I would miss them too much." And it's just like, really, like you talk all this, and then you're just kind of content with where you are, and that's just kind of how most people are up there. And I guess being from Arizona, that's obviously ingrained from me that everybody moved there, so they kind of have the moving gene in them. So it was just like, why are you guys just content with the Midwest? But you think about it, they're the people on the Mayflower that decided, oh, let's move, and then halfway through, they're like, this is good enough. And so those are all the people that stayed in the Midwest, and they're the good enough people. So kind of funny.
no, I think we talked about this a lot, and I think we kind of realized at the same time when we were kind of in our young 20s and late teens, where again I felt like I had the world at my fingertips. That I feel like we could do whatever we want. And then I went to college, and I was like, wait, like you guys talk about moving to Florida all the time, but like you're never gonna go. Like I remember like we had one guy, he had a job in Winona, and they also had openings in Florida. And this is the type of guy that he goes to Florida every twice a year to vacation. And I was like, dude, you can live there like in a few months. Like we were looking at apartments like in the area. I was teeing everything up for him and being like, dude, you could go do this. Like you spend this much money on a vacation every year, and you could go live in that place year round. And if you miss your parents, like you just fly up here and see them, and I guarantee you, your parents are gonna fly down and see you. Like it's gonna. What are you scared about? And even after like kind of listening to 30 positive things about this, he's like still didn't do it. He backed in and was like, yeah, I'm gonna be too far away from my family. And I was just like, it's like, okay, like there's nothing more.
Definitely some content people up there.
Yeah,
but it's a good thing as well, right? You're going to be happy where you are, and that's great as well. But I've always thought if you're complaining about something, let's do something to change it.
Yeah.
So yeah, Abe, what kind of activities would you do up in the Midwest?
Yeah, man.
To fill your weekends or your free days.
We were in college, so again, very walkable. We had one of the main bars that was again another block away. In hindsight, I can't believe my parents let me sign that lease that close to that place. I lived above a bar, which was cool. So I mean, there's a lot of we on the weekends when it wasn't golf season was a full-time job. Anytime we were not in class and the course wasn't closed, we were at the golf course practicing, grinding, getting better. We traveled a lot. I mean, every other weekend we were out of school when it was nice, going to go play tournaments. But winter times we went to school like an average person would go to school. Which when you're playing college sports, like sometimes it's just nice to be like your average kid. Play a little intramural basketball, and then we drink on the weekends and sometimes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So had a blast. We had a college golf house basically where everyone stayed, and the camaraderie we had amongst the team all 4 years, and I think you probably feel this too, but it's never the same team. Even though maybe one or two for the golf team, maybe one or two guys left, or maybe four guys left. And a couple, those guys get replaced by freshmen. I think one thing that I wish I told all my freshmen when I left, when I graduated, I was like, hey, like, please enjoy every team because it's truly different, even though a couple pieces are gone and replaced. But so yeah, we really just hung out and we drank a lot, and we had a blast, and we partied and we hung out and we did a lot of poker nights. And so yeah, again, just kind of, I would just say like Midwest activities where a lot of drinking games, a lot of just games in general, whether it's euchre or card games or poker. And then yeah, when it was nice outside, we were playing golf. And I really enjoyed the golf up there. Very, very different golf than Arizona. And it was just such a good. I truly will back into this where I think golf in the Midwest during the fall is probably the best golf that you can get anywhere across the country. And so I absolutely ate it up and enjoyed my time out there, and learned kind of the golf in the Midwest. And I know you did a little bit more actual activities, a little bit more outdoors than I did. But what did you do? What were your main activities?
Yeah, well, just Midwest activities. I 100% agree. Drinking is the number one. Yeah, I don't know if you've seen that map, but it's like shades of blue of counties of the U.S. and
Oh yeah,
like how drunk they are, and all of Wisconsin is purple. So Wisconsin is known for that. I'm not saying I did or didn't participate in that, but yeah, definitely a culture up there. Another big culture thing was the summer. Like the second the summer hits, it's a free for all. It's, you're on the lake, you're boating, you're going down to the river. People just want to be outside. You're stuck in the house all summer or all winter, and then the moment the summer hits, you get out, you golf, you do stuff. So there's definitely an energy to that, and that was fun. A lot of fishing, a lot of hunting, also very Midwest activities. Hunting was almost like a holiday. Like we would, being in construction management as my degree, and being in Wisconsin, there's a lot of hunters, and it's mostly a male major, and so all the professors were hunters as well. And so the moment open season was available, classes were canceled, and basically it was a free week of school because it was just like I said, it was a holiday. Everyone participated in it, and sadly I did not get to have that Midwest experience, but I did get invited a few times. It just happens to line up with Thanksgiving, and I would come home to be with my family and all that. But definitely, if I stayed through Thanksgiving, I would have been taken on some hunting trips, and yeah, went deer hunting with the guys. So that was definitely a different Arizona. There's hunting, but it wasn't like the culture that it is up there. Like everyone is involved. At least the college I went to and the guys I were around, it was insane. It was almost like a 95% hit rate for hunters.
I remember seeing I think it was like my junior year. I was just scrolling through the gram, and I remember like catching my eye of like a Wisconsin Stout like campus sign, like one that you'd have on the corner. And then there was like 3 dudes with like a 6-point buck, like out front of that, like up against the sign. And I was like, it looked like a shot on campus. And I was like, this picture perfectly explains like Wisconsin Stout of like, yeah, it's just like construction management, a bunch of dudes going hunting season. Like, I was like, that was the coolest photo I've seen in the last couple of months, which was so cool. And then but yeah, no, I completely get it. Winona was a little bit less like that, but still, there's a lot of dudes that would just be gone for a week. You just wouldn't see them till then, which is awesome. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, definitely different than Arizona.
And then one thing, I know you said boating. I went boating once right before season started, and I want to see if we don't think we've talked about this before, but I know there's a stereotype out there with like boating and like tubing with Wisconsin, just Midwest parents taking out all their anger towards their kids on tubes. Did you ever go tubing in the Midwest? Because I did, and I can 100% back that stereotype up because I felt like I was being severely targeted on the back of the boat on a tube.
The only tubing I did was down the river with some buddies. So
Okay.
river was probably more calm than the angry dads that were taking their rage from the winter out on you.
Dude, I'm just gonna go ahead and confirm it. That is a legit thing. I mean, my parents took me tubing up in the summers in Idaho, and we had a blast. But I mean, I just met the guy. He's the nicest guy in the world, this dad. And I mean, I think he flung me like 20 feet in the air, which is awesome.
Maybe they just have so much pent up anger from being so nice all the time, you know. Or in Arizona, you can kind of get it out just through your day-to-day interaction with people. Those Midwest people have it just pent it up, and
Dude,
inside of them, they're ready. It's the moment someone gets behind them in the water.
yeah, and they're so nice. Like, you know, they're dropping you off in this tube. Like, hey man, like, you know, just, you know, obviously speed up and slow down. We're good to go. And I was like, oh, great. And then you get on that tube and you just never see their face. And I can only imagine just pure anger on their face as they drive that boat. So yeah, I wanted to get that out there because I was curious if you had that incident. But
It's a good one.
Yeah.
I have not had that one.
All right. Another thing we want to talk about, food, Kenan. How did you feel? Obviously, we had a lot of cafeteria food. I want to point that out because we were in college. But how would you describe the Midwest food? Do you feel like it is different?
I feel like the way I describe the culture kind of describes the food. A lot of brown foods, a lot of white foods. And a big one that kind of jumped out to me was they call everything a salad. Potato salad, egg salad, chickens. None of those are salads. Salad is lettuce and, you know, tomatoes and chopped vegetables. And no, a salad to Midwest is mayonnaise. That's what salad is. It's some sort of mixture of food with mayonnaise thrown in it, and all of a sudden it's a salad. So that might also explain your larger people. You know, they're substituting lettuce for mayonnaise, but that was one that kind of caught me off guard. And my parents are from the Midwest, and you know they dropped like potato salad. It wasn't my first time having it, but they called everything a salad. You know, they had tuna salad, casserole salad. Like, it was just so many different versions of mayonnaise food. Being from Wisconsin, they take pride in their cheese. There's a lot of different cheese manufacturers around, and cheese curds was a fun one, which is again brown and white food. Just fried cheese, basically baby mozzarella sticks, and that was fun. But not super seasoned or anything, just more of a good fatty food. And then just like classic American food, I felt was very standard. A classic steak and potatoes for dinner, burgers, brats, stuff like that, and just pretty basic brown foods, really brown and white foods that didn't have a ton of seasoning. But that was about it. Do you have anything to add for the food?
Just cheese on everything, man.
Right.
There were some crazy combinations. I remember like in the cafeteria that they had like a donut sandwich, which was, I was like, what is that? And it was just literally just like a regular breakfast sandwich, but they put a donut on it and like put cheese, way too much cheese on it. I was just like, all right, that's a normal thing. Like, it's like, all right, they put cheese on everything, and you know they'll just combine whatever to make it more sweet and savory, I guess. But yeah, very bland. I guess a good way to describe it is like, you know, it felt like a kid's menu everywhere we went, where it's like, all right, like, you know,
I've never thought of it that way. That's a fantastic way to describe it.
I was like, all right, you know, the kids came adults, and they're like, all right, what can we put in this dish to take over to the Johnsons? You know, it's all right, let's throw some mayonnaise, macaroni, you know, this, that. And it's like, all right, call good, bake it, was sent it over, and it's casserole. Awesome, great. So like it's just like it's not a knock on by any means. But yeah, just that's kind of how I describe it. Which
That's a great way. I've never heard it described that way, and that definitely fits. The chicken tenders, ketchup, things like that. Yeah, that's fantastic.
yeah.
That's real funny. Nice work. So let's get into the next one. The obvious one, being from Arizona, no matter where we went, we knew that this is going to be different, right? Arizona is very unique in its weather, and moving to the Midwest, we had to learn a few things. What did you learn being in the different weather?
I think it's important to note that when the summer before we went to college, I think was record high. Actually, I know there was record highs for like the most days over 110 in a row consecutively. And if anyone knows what that feels like, it's awful. And so we were coming off like one of the hottest summers ever. We get to college. I don't know about you, but I didn't realize how hot it was going to be in August up there. Like I didn't know I saw 90 and 85 and I was like, oh, it can't be that hot. The humidity did hit a little bit. I was like, oh, it's not super comfortable up here either. That lasted for a week, maybe two. But that winter, the first winter, I think we had a I don't know the terminology for it, but I'm just going to say polar vortex.
I think that's right.
And so
I think so.
I think I have screenshots on my phone of -60 of our first winter.
Wind chill, but yes.
Yeah,
wind chill feels like -60. It was colder up there than it was in Antarctica at that time.
Yeah, and so they shut down like campus, which they rarely do. I found out up there because they're just so used to cold and snow. But it was so cold. They're like, "Hey, please don't go outside. Your eyeballs will freeze. Don't we'll just stay inside and let it blow over." And again, like I had no idea this was a thing. Didn't know what to expect. I didn't like scavenge food for 3 or 4 days, knowing it was gonna be locked inside. So I mean, again, everyone's gonna say winters are cold and dark, and they are. I mean, the days. I would say the temperature surprised me a lot less than when it is wintertime and you're coming out of the library at like 4:30 and it's pitch black. You're like, what's going on here? Like did I miss dinner? Like, did I miss, like, is everything closed right now? Do I need to like run home? Is it like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock? Like, and no, you look at your phone, you're an idiot. And it's like, oh, it's 4:30. And it's like, okay, cool. So that's normal.
Yeah, that definitely caught me off guard too.
Yeah.
Just how quick it was. And, you go to some classes and it's dark when you go and you get back and, you go to lunch, you go to a few more classes and you come out and it's dark again. You're like, what? I had like 6 hours of sunlight, but, and by the sunlight, you mean like cloud coverage and some snow, but at least it's daytime.
Even I remember too, like in Arizona, like the sun is what heats everything up. Like don't get like when the sun's out, like it's probably pretty hot or it's pretty nice, and like you feel that you can feel the sun's energy, like literally. In the wintertime, even if it was like a cloudless day and the sun was out and it's like 10 degrees, you look at that sun and you're like, yo, you got to do something right now. Like, like I don't feel anything coming from you. Like, do your part. So then it goes to bed. It goes to bed at like 4:30. It's like, all right, whatever. You're useless. So yeah. I mean, we had a unique situation where we would be home for basically a month for winter break. So we had a month less winter than everyone else. But it was. I didn't find it. I mean, I found it pretty manageable. I think that's just because we had a good head on our shoulders going into it, because you can't really complain when you choose to go live in Minnesota for 4 years. But yeah, it got cold, very, very unique. Wearing like winter jackets. I don't even know if you wear a winter jacket, but like having a winter jacket and wearing it and basically how you use it, like, which is very foreign to me. I remember my mom bought me boots for like the first time. She's like, "Hey, you need to wear these," and I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. I never wore them. And then having ice everywhere. I remember like having ice like walking to school. Like we didn't really walk on ice growing up. So so I remember I ate shit
There are
once.
some, yeah, some
Yeah.
days it's fun to have a window because you're seeing everyone eat shit, and then next thing you know, you're on the ground. So yeah, it's definitely a learning process there, and you're gonna get got sometimes. And
I
yeah,
I was so cocky. I don't know about you, but I was so cocky walking on ice for the first time. And I was like, dude,
it'll
like
humble you quick, man.
I fell
You think
and
you have it, and then you just catch a good
yeah,
little section, and it'll humble you. That's for sure.
I'm gonna
And
sound
another thing about the winter was for me coming from Arizona, a sweatshirt I always just called that's my jacket. And
yeah.
I got made fun of when I went up there. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go throw a jacket on, and I come back and I'm wearing a sweatshirt. And that's not a jacket. And I'm like, yeah, it is. What do you mean? No, a jacket is what you put on in the winter. I'm like, I don't even own that. What do you mean? I put this on in the winter, and I came around to finding out that first year when it hit -40 or -60. It's around zero. You can manage if it's not windy. Once it hits -15, you start to feel the crystals in your nose kind of form. Uh, and then around -40, you got to blink or else you can feel your eyes kind of starting to crystal up. So the fun things you learn in your first year of the Midwest.
Yeah, I think the different levels of cold, right? I think last week we talked about the different levels of hot. I never understood different levels of cold. I remember that there's days where it's 30 degrees outside, like it just snowed, so it's like it's perfectly white, no wind, and like you can comfortably wear jeans and a jacket or jeans and a hoodie. And see, I just did it right there. I called my
Right. I still do it.
yeah. And so, you wear a hoodie and jeans and sneakers and it's like it's super nice outside at 30 degrees. And then the second there's like 5-10 miles per hour wind, like it's brutal. Like it feels like it's 10 degrees.
Right.
Like this is awful. Like this is like shoot me now. And then even like when it's like 10 or 20 degrees, you don't wear a little bit more clothes, but like even at 10 degrees, like it's not super bad. But yeah, once you start throwing there's just like a bunch of different variables. Like, is the sun out? Is it cloudy? Is it windy? How much snow is in the ground? Like, is it icy? Like, it's like all those little factors can put into how you physically feel and what you need to wear. And even on top of that, like weather can change so quick, like day to day. Again, in Arizona, I never checked the weather. Like if it was 75 degrees the day before, like it's going to be somewhere around 75 degrees the next day. I remember I had a 10-minute walk to class my sophomore year because I lived off campus now. And it was like fall time. So I had like a shirt, jeans, and shoes, walked out of my apartment, took 3 steps. I was running late, took 3 steps outside of my apartment, turned around instantly and was like, I need an outer layer. I need a quarter zip. I need a hoodie. Like I'm not going to make it to campus and a t-shirt. And I was like, what happened overnight? And so that was like my first, like I would say come to Jesus moment of like, hey, you've got to check the weather before you go to class. And so ever since that day, I check my weather app like daily of like, all right, like what can I wear to class? And again, it always depends on like freaking the temperature and the cloud cover and the wind. So very, very different, very, very funny that again, everyone thought I was an idiot. I was like, dude, it was nice yesterday. I thought it'd be nice today. So.
Right. Yeah, definitely different. And then, spring comes around and you're excited. It's sunny out. You throw on a t-shirt and you go outside and it's like 25, 30 degrees, but it feels great because you're getting sun and your body's so deprived of sunlight where you're like, I just got to take it. It feels good. And it's funny how different that is. You wouldn't think that the sun is a vitamin being from Arizona. You're like, what do you mean it's a vitamin? Like,
Yeah.
you'll never feel that you need it, but living there for that long, you definitely feel it, man. It's weird. I don't know how to explain it to, my friends back in Arizona that haven't really left, but you definitely need the sun, and you feel different being in it.
We would play sand volleyball in like 40 degrees because that's when by that time it's like once the snow was melted and it was like the sun was out, like we were playing sand volleyball and it would be 40 degrees and everyone would be in t-shirt and shorts, and it's like to tell someone from Arizona that, like they'd be like, what are you talking about? But I remember being like, it felt so nice in that moment, and I was, damn, this is like, man, what can beat this? You know, like what a nice day.
That first day where you realize that every day for the last 3 months you've been flexing when you walk outside, and you walk outside and you flex and you realize, oh, I don't have to flex today. Like it's not freezing cold. Like it's just somewhat cold. Beaver time, you know, it's crazy. Just the difference in mindset, and yeah, it was fun to learn that, and you know, it's different. And then by the time summer comes around, man, everyone just has infinite energy. The days are long. You have sunlight until 10 p.m. People are excited. There's an energy in the air. We had some grass fields in the middle of like the dorms and stuff, and they would just be full of people playing frisbee, throwing baseball, playing spike ball, volleyball, like you were saying. It's just the energy in the Midwest is unmatched. It's so fun just because everyone's so.
It goes.
No, it doesn't. All summer.
High
it's so fun
until that summer, until that first leaf hits the ground, basically, and then they all turn into fall nerds, fall geeks.
Yeah.
Like, I need to have my pumpkin spice latte, and I need to have this, and we need to go to a pumpkin patch. So, like, they're high octane.
You went to a different college. Mine was, it's about deer season. It's about deer season. Or football, obviously, but I was around football players. So, fall was a great time too, man. For the 3 weeks that it lasted, it really felt like it was summer. Oh, the leaves are changing. Oh, snow, freezing, cold. It was not long lived, but it was pretty, man. That's another thing from Arizona. The leaves don't change because we don't really have leaves. We have cactuses, and so Midwest falls were super cool for me and my family coming up to experience that. They love the leaves changing and the crisp air, which is something we haven't really felt being from Arizona. So
I think cool. Both of our parents coming from kind of the northern part of the U.S., living in Arizona for 20-something years, and then going back up to see the seasons, I think they were both like, man, this is like, why did we leave, basically? I remember my parents were like, why did we leave this? Like, I miss this so much. And then, of course, they're like, oh, yeah, wintertime sucks. So, I think one thing that I think fall is awesome. I do think it's overrated, but I think it is awesome. But I love spring way more. I know that, like, my dad disagrees with me on this big time, but like when the snow is melting, it does look kind of gross. Like it gets all muddy and sloshy and dirty and whatever. But to see all these trees that have no leaves, to see like it feels like just as quick as fall is, like the leaves just sprout on these trees, and it greens, like to see that green and the air and on the barks and even the grass growing, like it does feel like it is somewhat overnight, little by little. And that's something that I think I appreciate more than everyone else a little bit, just because I am I'm a golfer, so to see the grass get a little greener, it gets me excited. But yeah, we had huge like maples and big old trees and whatnot, so to see those get green was awesome. But yeah, and then I also want to ask you this too. So with winters being so long and dark, do you feel like it breeds some sort of toughness out of people? I remember some time it was like Joe Burrow, and how he's like, he's an Ohio kid, like born and bred, like he had to deal with all those winter times. Like, do you think when someone goes through day in, day out, or year in, year out through those 6 months of being dark and in those winters, do you think it makes someone a little bit tougher than, say, like Arizona?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing coming from it is like it just makes people friendlier. You know, you see your neighbor stuck in a ditch, you're gonna pull them out because you want them to do the same for you. Like I just feel like everyone's kind of suffering together, and they're just like, all right, we're in this together. We got to get through it together. You know, the stores are closed because the roads are too icy. Like, do you have some eggs I can borrow, or some sugar or whatever? And I think it kind of creates more of a culture of looking out for each other, where it's um, we're all going through something and we're all kind of struggling right now. So let's go through it together and help each other out. Where Arizona, you don't have that. You're going to be able to fend for yourself and drive to the store, and you don't have to worry about the weather, and really you don't have to look out for your neighbors. So uh, toughness, yeah, I could see that as well. You shoveling snow, again, being on campus, I didn't have to deal with that a ton, but that'll build some kids. My chores were not that tough. Getting out there, but also it's just different, man. It's cool. It was really fun to experience.
For sure.
Do you think it makes people tougher?
I think just in a different way. Again, I think Arizona kids are different in a different way. Like, I mean, we pick up snakes and we weren't like scared of that kind of stuff, and like the heat and all that kind of stuff. And being around a bunch of pokey objects of all times. But dude, shoveling snow to your driveway at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning to like go to work. You can do that for 7 days in a row, and then like heating up your car, or getting in a cold car, like
that is the worst, man.
Like if you're to rush,
get out to your car and there's like 4 inches of snow on it. You gotta scrape that off, and then you gotta get in your car, and you're freaking seeing your breath, and like that is tough, man. It does. I think you're right. I think it definitely breeds some toughness.
I mean, dude, I remember like scraping my car and like being so like my hands so cold and my feet so cold, being like I literally cursing to myself, being like, what the hell is going on here? And then you drive, 5 minutes because you're in a small town. So it's a quick commute. Like your car never warms up. Like you're looking outside the window because it's freezing. Like it's freaking dark outside. Like lights aren't even working. And then walking to that gym at like 6-7 o'clock in the morning, go do a team workout. Like I remember being like, well, what the hell am I doing?
It is a different life, man.
That numbness. I mean, I can feel the numbness right now in my hand. I don't know. I think there is an element of toughness in the Midwest of just like, hey, we're gonna suffer through this together. Like we're gonna bond over this. Like you gotta scrape your car just as much as I gotta scrape my car. Like, it is what it is. But yeah, I remember that. I remember scraping cars sucks. I remember my dad got me a scraper, and I was like, what is this?
Right.
And sure. And then I remember when I graduated, I gave it to him. I was like, hey, you're gonna need this stuff in Idaho.
Nice.
He's like,
nice. The gift that keeps on giving.
Exactly.
So what were some differences in playing sports up there than what you were used to in Arizona?
Everyone, obviously like Indiana. Again, your parents from Indiana. Like I know, like that's kind of like the future state, obviously. But dude, everyone that's like sports related in the Midwest, they can ball. They can basketball it up. Whether that is their main sport or not, I would say the Midwest is just sneaky. It's just not sneaky, but like Minnesota, Wisconsin, there's a lot of good basketball players. Hockey's a big deal. I didn't really watch hockey growing up, and that sucks because I think hockey's an awesome sport. Hearing the hockey stories of kids growing up, crazy. They're like, hey, like if you're not skating by like 3 or 4 years old, like you're behind. And I was like, what are you talking about? and to see that in full action is crazy. I remember I've been to every division so I went to go watch a hockey game in high school, like a high school hockey game, a club college hockey game, an NCAA hockey game, and then the Minnesota Wild, the NHL hockey game. And I can tell you at every level, I enjoyed that arena and that atmosphere. I would say just as much as like any like major sports event. We go to a lot of Hawks games down here, and I would rather, we have like pretty good tickets. I would rather go to a high school hockey game up there than go watch like the Hawks play basketball. Like it's that's me, like not a Minnesota kid saying that. Like it's an awesome environment, and they take it so seriously. And again, they're so nice people. But man, once those skates come on, it's everyone hates each other, and it's awesome. Like that's sports. Like that's sports at its finest, and so to see that, I love it.
Definitely. Yeah, and it's a high school sport, which was total like crazy to me. I didn't know that was actually a thing in high school, being from Arizona. But up there, they have huge high school tournaments, and everyone in Minnesota, goes to those, and those are pretty packed stadiums. So that's super cool. And then something else I noticed is everyone's a diehard fan of their local professional sports. So from Wisconsin, you're gonna like the Packers, you're gonna like the Brewers, and you're gonna like the Bucks. From Minnesota, you're gonna like the Vikings, you're gonna like the Timberwolves, and you're gonna like the Twins. It's just kind of how it is, and there's some crossover there. But even if you are someone in Minnesota rooting for the Packers, you're a diehard Packer fan.
Yeah,
it's just Arizona. Everyone's kind of all over the place, but you have all those, and then you have the Bears and the Lions, and those are all in the same division. It's awesome. The rivalries up there are fun. People get passionate about it, and it's really fun way to watch football. I kind of wish I grew up in that atmosphere, or any sports. Football is obviously my passion, but it was fun to see those guys clash, and I almost wish I had a team in the fight, but I didn't really care. Being a Colts fan, my parents being from Indiana, but it was fun to just kind of poke the bear and be like, oh, what was that? Like you got nothing. If I knew I was with Packer fans, or Viking fans, and their team wasn't doing great, or the other team was doing well. So super fun with that. I really enjoyed everyone being all out for their team, and not something that I had seen in Arizona.
Even when they're like, I mean, the Vikings had a couple of bad stints up there, a couple of bad years, and I mean, they ride through their teams, and I have the utmost respect for that. I think that's the most admirable thing that you can do in the game of sports as a fan, obviously. It's just so cool, and you don't understand it until you get out there. I mean, you don't know what the Big Ten means until you get up there. You don't know what the Viking Packer game means until you get up there. Because again, I watched a lot of sports growing up. I always thought really it was mainly the Packers and the Bears, and obviously it's not. It's really that whole division. Everyone hates each other's guts. And again, they're not hostile to that. Like they're not, people weren't throwing beer cans at everyone because someone had a touchdown. But there's just so much smack talk, and I feel like I was in the middle of the Coliseum every time the Packers played the Vikings, and it would just be like, I mean, just screaming and yelling, obviously because both people would score, or one person would score, and that side would cheer, the other side would boo. I don't know how people get married from Wisconsin and Minnesota with a division of house. And it's not like, obviously football is more geared to the men, but I found a lot of, and I think this is me being from more of a nursing girls school, but like there's a lot of females that were big into sports. A lot of females.
Oh yeah.
Watched.
Oh yeah. Everybody was.
Yeah.
The classic icebreaker when I would go into my classes was, are you a Packer or a Viking fan? There was no, oh, I'm from somewhere else. Like, no, which one are you? It's like, it was fun. It was super cool environment.
And so, and even like on top of that too, like I was able to go to Lambeau Field and watch a Packer game, and I really dislike the Packers actually, especially like I think their fans are a little bit more annoying than the rest, but going to Lambeau, it's just a very unique place. Very truly one of a kind. I hope it doesn't change. It's awesome. I see why their fans are so passionate, and again, they're so nice. I remember going up there, it was a Seahawks game. I was wearing a Seahawks jersey. Everyone was like cussing me out, but then everyone was like, "Hey, you want a brat?" I was like, "Yeah, sick, thank you." Hey, I hope you choke on that, whatever. But it's like it's just so like they're so passive aggressive. They're so fun. And yeah, just a very special place. I went there, it started snowing. Like truly it felt like I was on the snow globe. But yeah, I love how serious they take sports again for us that we love sports, but to see everyone about it, again, fall up there you just can't beat. You have football, you have nice weather. It's heaven on earth for about 3 weeks, and then it becomes a frozen tundra. So yeah, anything else you have to say with sports?
No, that's about all.
Yeah. And then even after all the things we've said, would you choose to live there or not?
I think I really enjoyed my time there. I definitely did. I do not think I want to live there out of all the places I've lived. I might. The summer is unbeatable. Like,
Yeah.
the summer was super fun. The energy's super fun. The weather's great. The days are long. I could definitely see myself getting a lake house or something up there and becoming one of those snowbirds that we kind of shit on last week. I think they got something good cooking. But I don't think I could live there full time. Even with the winters, I would come home for the holidays and come home for Christmas break for that month, and they still felt long to me, even with having an Arizona winter in the middle of it. So I just can't imagine owning my own home, having to deal with frozen pipes, having to deal with the plowing, not plowing, but snow shoveling, dealing with the weight of the snow breaking or pulling down your roof, or all the things that come with the cold up there. I don't think I could deal with it. Not my first place of choice. So I do not think I would live there, sadly. As much as I did love it and I love the people, I think there's better places out there for me. How about yourself?
I talked to one of my good friends, Jess. We catch up quite often, and it's funny. She's from Minnesota. She went to school, and now she's living in Virginia. And she's always like, "Oh man, like I'd love to move back." And she's also spent some time in Arizona. She's like, "I'd love to move to Arizona, but I can always see myself going back to Minnesota." And then once I hear that, when she starts describing it, it's like, "Oh man, like I'd love to go live in Minnesota too. Like I could totally go back there." And I think I could, but I really would want winters to be like 1 to 2 months shorter. Like if you told me winter was like 2-3 months, like I would sign up right now and go do it.
Right. And that's the tough thing, because winter is 6-7 months. Like, it's the majority of the year.
It's at least 5. I mean, you're 5.
Right.
It's
the other 3 seasons are fantastic. Like,
yeah.
Fall is fun for the 3 weeks you get. Spring is just fun because the energy is starting. And then, summer, like I said, is unbeatable.
But I think you have it right. Like, I think us just not knowing what it's like to live. Like, I don't even know what it's like to maintain the house in the wintertime. Like, I have no, like,
right.
Dude, I came home after a trip in my apartment, and I forgot to set my thermostat to a certain temperature so like shit don't break. And my pipes were frozen for like an entire day, and then like I walked in, I could see my breath inside, and like if you put water on the floor, like I would be able to ice skate around my apartment. Like, it was brutal.
Yeah.
And
things you don't know from Arizona. You're like, why? I'm not living there. Why do I have to turn my heat on? Because pipes will freeze and burst, and it's like, I guess that makes sense, but I have never thought that way. But things you learn when you move away.
Yeah, dumbass was like, "Oh, I want to save money in the electric bill," and it's like, "Nope, it's not how it works." So and again, I think as great as summers are, like I just love the mountains, and I love kind of the mountain activities, and I think that's just something that the Midwest is lacking a little bit. But I do love the people from the Midwest. I love how they just make the best out of kind of a lot of situations out there, especially with wintertime. I love how active they are, but yeah, it's hard. I think I know I could. It's just I don't know if it'd be best.
Right. I'm in the same boat there, and I did not. I enjoyed living up there, but it's not the best place for me. What did you? Go ahead.
I don't think I could imagine a better college experience in the Midwest. Like if my kid came up to me and was like, Dad, I don't know where to go to college, or I don't know what to do like after high school. I'd be like, hey, you should go spend some time in the Midwest. So like I almost want to like kind of push him to like again, went to like a school in the middle of the city of Atlanta, and it's like, no, go to a college town. Go to a college town in the Midwest, East, like somewhere where like
There's some nice people.
Yeah.
You learn how to have fun with not a lot of things around.
Yeah.
It is different.
I would definitely kind of point them in that direction, but I don't think
definitely.
That's all the time. Like, I don't think I could have found a better college to go to for 4 years, especially just the area of the Midwest. So
with that being said, what did you take away from living up there?
I felt like I was a more complete person when I got down to college. I feel like I was able to handle, again, like I know I'd be scared to own a home up there, but like to get through winters, like knowing I can get through winters, knowing I can walk on ice comfortably, driving in snow, like things like that, like the feeling of numbness, of cold, the feeling of your hair freezing, how to wear jackets, how to layer. Like I feel like I learned a lot more outside of the classroom than I did inside the classroom in college. And again, I think it was just a really good place to live with the cost of living at the time, and being able to, like, again, I didn't know anyone out there. It was nice to like have teammates that I could be friends with right away, but knowing that you can kind of create your own life, obviously in a controlled environment of college, but like it gave me a lot of confidence to kind of jumpstart my 20s. So yeah, I really am really grateful for it, and yeah, just to see a different part of the country and how everything works. I think how we talked about that, like I didn't know any of this stuff before. Literally nothing that we talked about in here I knew more than
right. And there's no reason you should have. Yeah, it's funny how that works. And yeah, I have to agree with you with that. It was my first time moving out as well, and it is kind of, you can reinvent yourself. I felt like I liked the person I was in Arizona, and I liked the morals I followed, and had some people that respected me and knew the type of person I was. And then going to college was a blank slate. Nobody knew me. Nobody knew what I'd done in the past. I didn't have that resume behind me, and so I just kind of got to reinvent myself. I was more of a shy person back in high school. Can I fix that, or is that just who I am? And it was fun to take that and be like, okay, I can. If I don't like something about myself, I can change it. Like, there's nothing holding me to it. There's nobody saying that is who you are. Like, it's all up to me. And I thought that was, not something I just learned from the Midwest, but just moving out and experiencing things by myself. Like you said, I didn't have any friends going to my school, or anybody I knew that was even from the states that touched Arizona. So you're probably my closest friend at that point, and neither of us had cars, and we were a mile or an hour and a half away from each other. So it was cool. There's definitely some days where it was a little darker, and it didn't, when everyone went home for Thanksgiving, and or for the bye week during my freshman year, and I didn't, because my home was a flight away and everyone else's was a drive, and I didn't really have friends to go home with yet. So that was definitely a dark time, and there was nobody on campus. But you get through that, and I think that's a part of moving out of the house, is just kind of learning how you tick, and what you really are, rather than what people have put that label on and you've kind of just accepted. So really enjoyed my time there, and like you said, I definitely think it was a great place to go to school and learn about myself. And yeah, it was super fun.
I think within
Really
Sean's complete boredom, because I had the same weeks where people would just like limited weekend, people would go, I'm the only one on campus, it felt like. And when you're completely bored, like I think you get past like a hump of it. It's like, all right, like what can I do right now, right? And you kind of start like I don't know about you, but like I would just walk around Winona and just check stuff out. And be like, hey, like what's this? Like what's this store? What's that? Like what's down this corner? But like like even on campus, like hey, like this door's open. What's down here? So yeah, and I just think it's to completely reinvent yourself. It's fun. Like I really appreciate it, and I think you shared the same feeling about me, but like I just met some really awesome people out there. And I know that's you can do that at any college, but again, people up there are just so nice. It's so easy to make friends, and I still call friends from up there, and we still connect, and the people that'll be at my wedding, and hopefully I'll be at theirs, and curious to see how our lives are. They crossed at one point. I think I'm gonna cross again. So, just a lot of really
Definitely.
good people there. So, that's
with them crossing again. Have you visited up there? Have you gone back?
So I've gone back up there twice. I've gone up there. I graduated, came back to Arizona, and then like 2 weeks later, I went back up to Minnesota.
You just missed it that much, huh?
Yeah, I told my buddy, I was drunk, I was just like, hey, the Vikings make the playoffs. I'm gonna watch it. I'll come up here and watch it here. Like we were at the bar. I was like at this seat, and then they made it, and I was like, oh shit. So I had to go right back up there. Which flights were so cheap. They were like $80 on Spirit, and I was like, yeah, whatever.
So that's an honorable man, though. I respect the.
I'm a man of my word.
Yeah.
Man of my word, and that was when they lost to the Giants in the playoffs, so it was pretty awesome. And then I went up another time in the summer, just hanging out, play golf with a bunch of buddies. So been up there twice, and there's always talks of like, hey, can I come back up? Or when will I come back up? It's never if, it's always when. And obviously when you're traveling, you can kind of pick those times. So I'm not gonna go back up in January anytime soon, but summers and even falls, it's a good excuse to be in hot land. And it's like, all right, let's go up to Minnesota, and I really want to show Mina, not really Winona, but it's the Midwest and the vibes. She kind of hates summer, and it's like, you don't understand. Like summer's different in different parts of the country. So
right, definitely.
What about you?
Definitely.
Have you gone up there?
Yeah, I've been back once. I went back for homecoming last year. And that was great, just to see all the guys. We stayed in an Airbnb with all my not all of them. There's a lot of them, but a lot of my close friends from college, and yeah, we just hung out and had a good time and enjoyed the cheaper drinks and watched the UW Stout play some football. So it was fun. It's crazy how quick the team is changing. Like you said earlier, with it's never the same team. I've been out one season now. This is not going to be the second season starting up, and I know very little amount of the people left on the team, and it's like I should know more people than I do, but it's pretty sad, just how quick that team, that I'm sure nobody knows me either, and it's just kind of life moves on that way. But we were hoping to make that homecoming a tradition. I'm not going to be up there this year, probably, just with all the the big boy job and having a few weddings coming up next year. I just saving the PTO for now, but luckily with weddings, all those guys that I stayed with will be coming to the wedding, or at least they will have an invite. So yeah, looking forward to that, and hope I can make that more of a tradition rather than skipping out on it, just because I do like the Midwest, and I do like seeing those guys, and they're all still up there. So unlike my Arizona friends where everybody's dispersed, everyone in the Midwest is still in the Midwest. So yeah, I definitely hope I can get back there and enjoy the Wisconsin.
I think it's funny how you're making traditions, and even there's been rumblings about with kind of the core golf guys of some of us are some of us spread out, some of us are not. And there's just rumblings of hey, 3-4 years from now, when we're kind of still in jobs and stuff, I think a Midwest golf trip will become a thing, and I'm utmost ecstatic about it as I possibly can at this time and age, and that just sounds like something that's right up my alley. Golf up there is a little bit cheaper than everywhere else. accommodations are a little bit cheaper. And that actually kind of goes into the last thing where, Kendon, how would you describe the cost of the Midwest, and how did it benefit you?
Yeah. It's cheaper, right? It's not a vacation destination like Arizona is, and it was priced that way. Yeah, turning 21 up there and going to the bars, and then you'd have a good time with 10, $20, and then you go. I remember we went back to Arizona. We're like, let's go out. We weren't gonna have anything, and so I asked around, anybody want a shot, and two people took me up on it, and I went up to the bar. I was like, 3 shots, and like, all right, that'll be $30. And I was like, looked at my wallet. I had exactly $30, and that was the night. That would have lasted me a whole weekend in Wisconsin. But yeah, it was definitely cheaper. I didn't. Yeah, I think I paid rent. Alyssa and I split rent for the month, and I think it was 300, 330, somewhere in that. My senior year, and that's where Mac and I are paying 2,200 right now up in Washington. So about 7 times difference. Obviously that split that in half. So let's say, 4 times more up here rather than down there. But yeah, definitely cheaper. Didn't look into housing to like buying a house, but I would have to presume that's, $100, $200, $300,000 rather than the $1 million houses up here, or even in Arizona. I'd say they're more around the probably 5 on the low end, 8 for an average house. Maybe, I don't know, somewhere around there, but definitely cheaper, considerably cheaper. And yeah, definitely made for a hard time coming back to Arizona and trying to spend some money. But yeah, how about yourself?
Yeah, that's it.
Anything to add?
I'm curious. I'm almost gonna hop on Zillow like right after this and be like, hey, what are houses in the West? But I remember going home to Arizona for the summer times to go make a bunch of money because the minimum wage was like almost twice as much as it was in the Midwest, and then I would just go take that money and like, it's like, hey, I worked half as hard as you guys and I have more money than you. Like, ha 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 ha. And so I remember going to college with like a little bit more money than everyone else, which was fun. But yeah, again, I do think about like as we get older, like, that thought will probably cross my mind quite a few times of like, could pack everything up and go to the Midwest and like, be in a pretty nice house. So
true. It's true.
But no, it's and then yeah, again, it's kind of the same thing where my bar tabs were quite a. Yeah, dude, it's I see why everyone drinks that because it's just so cheap. Like,
well, yeah, I would say it's everything though. Like, I remember me and my roommates would split 60 eggs, and it was like $3.
Yeah,
for 60 eggs.
Like milk was like $2, and it's like, dude, milk $6. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Like,
yeah. Now a dozen is $7 up here or something. I don't go shopping too often, sadly, but I'm sure it's something like that.
Like, I remember going like Quick Trip and like things were like $2. It's like, dude, like this sandwich $2, like sick. Like, that's awesome. So yeah, again, that's just the little things like that you kind of appreciate, especially being a broke college kid. It's like, oh, dude, everything's cheaper for you guys. So nice. Like,
definitely.
I couldn't imagine being a college kid in like at ASU or even like some of those California schools. So it's like, dude, like, Dad, I'm trying to budget. I promise you, but like eggs are $10, man. Like,
right.
I'm buying the
gas is $6. Yeah, it's tough.
So
yeah, well, do you have anything else to add for the Midwest before we wrap it up?
No, man, I really don't. Again, I really enjoyed my time up there. I really can't wait to make it back, whatever time of year it is. Probably not winter time, but just anytime.
Right.
And yeah, just the irony of being an hour and a half apart. After high school, I never really thought that'd be a thing, and just by chance that happened. So again, I really, really enjoyed. I think we got a lot closer in college because of it, but just so cool to share. I remember like coming home for Thanksgiving, like, hey man, like, do you feel like when you're at campus, do you feel like you see people from Arizona? And Like, do you mistake people for that? Like, you just like, going from class to class. Like, yeah, dude, like all the time. It's like crazy how that works, right? So just be able to like spitball things back and forth, like little things like that. I think I'll always kind of look back and appreciate it. But
Yeah, definitely. I almost shared the experience with you, even though I didn't those first years. And yeah, we definitely got closer at the end when we could drive back and forth and stuff. But yeah, it was great. Definitely reflect on my Midwest experience. It was a positive one. Definitely a lot of good memories, and yeah, it's good to kind of run down that memory lane with you. And yeah, I think that was a good episode. Next week we're going to be talking about Washington.
pumped.
Yeah, or even Abe is from Idaho, so I guess let's talk about the Pacific Northwest next week. It'll be a good episode. We'll talk about the differences between Wisconsin and Arizona. So
I'm gonna say I'm not gonna wait for next week. I think it's the more prettier part of the U.S.